come back, you can come back.
Representatives are now saying future is only with India. Reason is one is population, one is growing economy. Roughly 7,000. They bought the company in '89, and there were 18 people, one act working in the group. We are also in a factory in Germany, a factory in Poland. We have a factory in Hungary for cardboard. Where we are located, we have basically 6 divisions. As I said, the headquarters in Bosnan we are going to visit. Also in this case, in the Kanchrapara project, it's absolutely similar. We will add here now also in the maintenance issue UK. We have passenger transport from the trams to the high-speed train, which we are going to see this afternoon. We have locomotives, we have single coaches. We are doing what we are not producing is freight wagons, because it's freight wagons. The price level is so low that it doesn't make sense. Segment that means everything what is above 250 kilometers an hour, because that's a very small segment and a very political. Mrs. Merkel running around promoting high-speed, German high-speed, Mr. Hollande promoting French high-speed, and change the job of the president. So let me say it's very, very political, this very high-speed train. So we stay in the, you see that was still with steam locomotives. There was no access to the railway system, so they had to put to place by the factory today in Bosnan. Good. Next, please. So Stadler in the last 15 years has mainly grown in Western Europe. One important aspect is also we are fully aware that we cannot just transfer a product. A vehicle is different, but also the requirements of the Indian population is completely different than maybe in Switzerland. And that requires a fully localized component. So our target is to have approximately 85 to 95% of the value chain in India fully localized, which is calling for 5,000 EMU coaches over a period of 10 years, so roughly a production of about 500 coaches per year. That's a substantial amount of cars per year, which obviously allows to make such an investment. Additionally, in Kanchrapara is also included 10 years of maintenance. So it's, let's say, participating in this project and final assembly. Today we are 800 people in Poland, and we are the biggest exporter of railway material out of Poland for several. Not producing this electrical portion. We always source that from third parties. So it's in respect of supply, in respect of technology, is a perfect match. Obviously, MEDA also brings in competent partners in India who help also our engineers to design a product which is really to the Indian requirements, to the needs of the Indian population, and not something which is just a little bit adapted from Europe. And the other side, which principally is the trucks underneath the cars, and then the second thing is the car bodies. And there we are looking, Stadler is producing most of its cars.
So on this slide you can see the production network that we plan to implement in India. You have in red the location of our strategic partner MEDA, located in Hyderabad, Telangana. Here we locate Shuttle India on this slide in Visakhapatnam, which is a very good option for us, but we are also looking at a few other places within India. So the system would be at Visakhapatnam, produce their aluminium profiles, and then supply the aluminium profiles to our factory, Shuttle India, which is ideally next to our supplier. Car bodies, the paint car bodies, and the bogies, which are also produced in Shuttle India, will be shipped to the final assembly in West Bengal. At the same time, all the electrical components will be supplied by MEDA. As I mentioned before, you see all the different locations which we evaluate currently for Shuttle India. We are looking at 100,000 square meters minimum land plot with a possible potential for expansion. Another important factor is we need an efficient solution to transport aluminium profiles to Shuttle India site, and then we need another efficient solution to transport bogies and car bodies. It's also a subject which is currently under evaluation. Further, of course, we are looking at the tax situation in the different states and financial factors which influence the selection of the site. Our strategic objectives with the market entry in India. On the other hand, the Indian economy would benefit from our localization, state-of-the-art technology to produce those aluminium profiles. Perhaps it's important to understand that furthermore, we have to train the local manpower, so we will implement in order to make sure that the technology transfer is sustainable and successful. Yes? On this slide,
Who is the owner of the MEDA?
The owner is the family.
Family.
they have currently around 1,900 employees and a turnover of approximately.
I mean, what is also interesting, they already have an experience in running out of time. So this is more or less, yeah.
Yes.
And we have to present the offer in March.
We have basically 3 months for
3 months.
Yeah.
And we discussed with Indian Railways, and we said we would like to have the choice for our portion, not for the joint venture part, for the final, but for our portion, for starters. First car bodies have to arrive, we have to train the people here, we will ship them. So we hope that this will also be in the new tender. It's an excellent success also story. You know, after the independence of India, Switzerland made a government to bring Swiss technology for railways. So the existing coaches, the EMU coaches, let me say the railway people, if
we are very happy to hear all these things. As I rightly mentioned, India is moving very fast. Now we are developing 2 metros in all the place, and also we are going for speed trains. Even railway minister is representing from our state. He belongs to Maharashtra, but he is MP from my state. That zone as a special employment zone.
Okay.
We want to promote more employment. They are taking 2 zones. One is west coast, that is Gujarat. Second is east coast, Andhra Pradesh. That is one more advantage we have. Power, there is no problem. Water, there is no problem. Infrastructure, there is no problem. I can provide you either excellent road infrastructure, rail infrastructure, even flight connectivity, port infrastructure. These are all the advantages. Even you want to go for exports, you can go. And also it is the state where it is centrally located between north, south, east, west. That is the biggest advantage. It is the gateway.
Yes.
You want to go anywhere, you have to go from this place. It is centrally located. So these are all the advantages you will have. And also ease of doing business, we are number one. Now I am benchmarking internationally. Top 10 in the world are benchmarking. Even growth rate, we are number one in the country. Double-digit growth last year, 10.99%, whereas all other states are less than 10. All India, 7.56. Now first half yearly, we are 12.23%. We have the problem. And also forward, there is surplus. We may not have any problem in the year.
Yeah, that's power supply is very important.
Yeah,
especially when you
data forward.
All of these you need power reliable.
Yeah, reliable, quality, I can assure you. Land also easily. You can say very clearly. Skilled labor also I can, what resources I can provide. Even incentives we are better than anybody. Anyway, our people will be in touch with you. You can discuss with them. If you can come a tea, you can explore. Anyway, you have done sufficient homework. Now Visakhapatnam is the beautiful steel plant is there, and also aluminum, strong deposit we wanted to go for value addition. You need some more mineral wealth is available there only. So, without AWC and excellencies also, I will clarity.
So we are promoting Andhra as the foremost investment destination in
Yes,
India because
yes.
of all the factors out of which you
Yes.
just mentioned. And also he won't say this, but he's the most dynamic, one of the most dynamic leaders in India. And we are all very enthusiastic and fired up about, the prospects of Andhra.
Even Hyderabad.
Yes.
The so-called Hyderabad. I developed a long back.
When it was one state.
And then within the new Andhra Pradesh, Amaravati, new capital, one of the best capital in the world, top one among 5 in the world.
The new capital.
And also beautiful cities, and also beautiful areas.
Yeah, this is what we have seen doing our homework, that Andhra Pradesh is certainly one of the best locations.
Cities, if you say along the city, industrial city now, but it's best industrial city now. Yeah, like we are there and then.
Thank you. Do you also come to Busna to visit the factory?
See you later then, in the afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
With the Germans, we strictly to time. So we have only starting and what we actually want to bring down later. We are actually presenting in next 18 minutes. So next slide. 15%. The student actually is away from the industrial integration and working on the industry projects. Then I started one more company called Indo-Euro Synchronization. We started actually establishing the research centers. I want to bring down to the one platform several universities, because one university good for automotive, one university good for aerospace, one university good for computer science. But we need one platform actually, because not blindly going to the masters or something, working on some obligation. Which is actually nearly locating. So this is actually concept we are actually bringing down, sir, to our AP. And
We deliver very clear integration with our automobile. That's very good.
Okay.
Now, India is the country where things, that is the demographic dividend advantage. Second one is technology has become a handy for Indians. Average Indian very easily understand and talk English. That is our strength. Technology, demographic dividend, and also English. Now IoT. It is a deadly combination. If you can give this type of technologies to our students, then they can do wonders.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
For this, Andhra Pradesh is very, very creative and also excellent environment. You name anything, today ease of doing business we are number one. Growth rate we are number one compared to any other state. Either human resources, all other resources available, we are number one. Infrastructure we are number one. If you can come, I am very happy. You can, now we are going now, Sri City area. Government of India is taking very seriously 2015 special economic zone on the lines of Shenzhen. That is Krishnapatnam, Tirupati, Naidupeta zone. That area will be the knowledge hub. Capital, it will be one among top 5 in the world. Unique capital. One of the best capital we are going to build, one among top 5 in the world. And then, so the capital will be very, very. So now in India, all come, I can say, best top schools in India. I am aiming to bring not one or two, all best for the place. So it will go a long way if you go on. European Council, if you have best area, you can have a very good advantage. So everybody will talk about this area.
They build the buildings, but they are not used. Actually, we can also notice that there is no
Here we want to visit Srikakulam. Recently I went to Trivandrum.
But it is still in Denmark, sir, or we already confirmed?
Build on technology front, institution of excellence, university of excellence. It's the German standard. That will go along.
Definitely. And definitely I'll put all these points and I'll send a report, sir. Before actually killing further time on this thing.
No, I am very happy. I am telling you, this is the city where I am building world best universities, world best hospitals, world best colleges, even high schools. Why I am saying I want to make it a knowledge hub in true sense.
Actually, this energy actually got us to actually work a little more harder than actually what we are doing. That's why we are now
Baumgarten. As a Baumgarten is a part of the GFE. Yeah. GFE is a Japanese company, big company. We're working worldwide. It has about 60,000 employees. And so we have a lot of experience to build boiler systems. How does it work? Yeah. You burn the waste, you heat the water, you make steam out of the city. Yeah. The plants are nearby the city, so you don't have long ways to landfill technology, and you win the energy. These are the part. So I think in a new capital you are building, in the infrastructure and how you will do it. Yeah. So we can give you all the technical support to plan this from the first hour to the realization of the project. And with your local companies, we can give you support to make the plans and so on. So this is what I would offer to you. Yeah. You have
In about 10 urban local bodies, we have already awarded the work. So about 72 megawatt energy would be generated in these 10 plants. And then we have gone through a bidding process wherein power is purchased by the distribution companies. And in fact, you mentioned GFE engineering. How you are associated with GFE?
We are part of GFE.
Yeah, because GFE is also doing their project for
Yes. In
Kakinada.
Yeah, in GFE.
Yeah.
Because we
We are working with them for the Kakinada plant.
Yeah. Very hard.
I want to short introduce a very high-tech several of fairs worldwide. Next slide, please. We do the whole. We are the sustainable provider for high kinds of systems, including the profiles onto the grips. Next slide, please. But the main thing is the mesh. This is the main part. We are researching and developing the normal mosquito mesh since years now. And what we've done until now, 2000, totally clear crystal. If you don't have if you don't have a normal window beside, you don't see it. Thin. And the most important part in this mosquito mesh is the next one, please. Is that you are protected against pollen mosquito mesh. It's a technology which means that the yarn is out. That means that it creates static electricity, and the fine dust and the pollen is not going through. That's the main point. So what you do is that you're protected. The next one. The next one. We would like to develop Chile in other products. We would like to set up a production location for about 5,000 square meters. We would like to create about 40 to 50 point of sales in the region under the products with about.
Years there, 2 years here. Right student. Create an ecosystem. This regarding this printer, you can come immediately. We are prepared to action all this information. My unit is here. Tomorrow,
It's part of moving and other technologies also. Coordinating limited activities for undergraduates from Germany.
So you
companies are there?
Yeah, you work with all companies from Germany. Germany, we merged. Yeah, this is my part. Thank you very much. Okay, you are not you work with us. We need that with your phone number. This education I want to bring European companies. I want to start expecting money because money goes to extracting something. Money next year, money would have 15,000. You must have a my mind is that I do. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
We have to hurry because head of the Asia, Indian sector, most prestigious universities in the world.
I also spent 4 years down in Bangalore.
Nowadays, more or less than 100%. I can call myself an 100%.
Good. I'm very happy for that. I'm proud of you.
So we were supposed to also help and welcome Mr. Jane Chong. And then, yes, sir. Well, and then, in AP, with APL, again, you were working on the Satchel project.
So we did a pilot project in Srikakulam district, sir. That's when we came to review about that.
Yeah.
using remote Pradesh. So we're working on that. And in fact, we had, we met Mr. Raman Naidu as well in Delhi in November, where we briefed him about
the strategy team of Daimler for the truck division to build a business model in China 2025. I also work for the Oil Minister of Timor-Leste. We have Nobel Peace Prize laureates, and also, to be honest, SME enter the European markets, especially now in Turkey. A recent project we did is working with Sembcorp, the Singaporean group in China, towards Swiss and German companies. So this is also something that we will hand over to Mr. Kishore. I brought the videos, etc., that I promised you on how. That's just our favorite, but I want to share with you something, a two-pager that I've been writing in the FDI Intelligence Magazine of Financial Times is enclosed. There might be rather for the unfavorite practitioners what they need to consider to understand the right, let's say, infrastructure, the right to have also how to build social capital. That's the next one. So, again, Abhishek, where do you?
So we've been doing a lot of things already, directly and indirectly. So for example, one of the projects that we are supporting is space and defense companies to the EMC. So that's something in the pipeline that we are supporting, sir. And we are working very closely with IIDP. We are looking at creating the necessary.
Big idea would be that we turn Andhra Pradesh into a living lab for technologies for different applications. Because at the end, what can really make a difference also with the support of Mr. Kishore and the clusters is we have a you can basically build the business in India, in Southeast Asia, out of your AP your testing lab. That would be our big to also collaborate with I&PR, which is hosted with, or supported by Bangalore, where we already have some colleagues, so we could collaborate and push that forward. We have some ideas on how to extend the already existing for a testing location in India, potentially. So since I'm supporting the strategy department, they came to me, that would be something that we could also try to push in part of Switzerland. We're heavily investing into our own law competences. We have basically designed favorite optics network.
We are having now Towers Corporation, drones corporation, surveillance cameras, CCTV cameras in a big way, even biometrics, sensors and devices, you name anything. By March it will be open. Everything, machine learning, you name anything, and I would have to and when I am taking to a very home. So even E-Pragati, one of the most impressive project we are doing now. Now I am the convener for digital economy also.
Ask you to come, and we'll focus it on development of aerospace development cluster and any other idea which is interesting to you. Switzerland is in India, you're planting 18 crore trees, and that's fantastic. I'm an ecologist myself. So as a result, we very much like to, I mean, the Swiss boast that their lakes and rivers are fit for drinking. So if Andhra can become like that, then it's a perfect twin
effort, because one-time events will never help. Because again, companies do not get convinced with one visit. It's what we also do, continuous hand-holding. We do not provide information or presentations. We always let senior executives work in small groups to build networks to really. So a little picture. So we have a memento. What we should work on together is digitization, decision intelligence. Okay. Yeah, it's what you are representing, digitization and decision intelligence, making decisions on the spot, moving forward in the digitization space. And we are basically working in the same context. Okay, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll make it together.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
A long run.
Okay.
We want to
Yeah, we'll make it.
we can Andhra Pradesh grow together, sir.
Yeah, work together on digital economy. Andhra Pradesh will be number one. all research, everything, it will be better than developed countries, I can assure you. It may fiber 15 MBPS every home. Nowhere.
As you said, you are faster than everybody else in today's speed. In the digitized economy is everything to test, create the real testing case, and then we'll work on.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
You bring any technology.
Infestations, so on and so forth, including all kinds of water balance.
Again, you need, you brought those lot of snow, those very long, finally, very pleasant.
He's here.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That there were quite some follow-ups happening in the last 12 months, which we are delighted. And thank you so much also for the opportunity of this year to again introduce a number of companies, members of the Swiss-Indian Chamber of Commerce, in a possible way forward. But I would like to give the word to Mr. Weise. And before doing that, finally also
I wanted to show you the development we have done in the meantime. The first 1,000 to 5,000 employees. Next slide, please. This is because our strategy is to develop from a standard power providing company to a of companies which in the meantime now belong to BKW. As you can see, the focus now is development into the direction of infrastructure, but also in Germany and Austria. And that is because we have increased by organic and inorganic on the subject infrastructure, but also in terms of grid we have increased our competencies, and now we cover where we come from. We, as a power providing company, we know almost everything about generating power. We are
a lady. I want to learn the best practices and also the best technologies available. One example I can give you now. Every home I am taking fiber net. Every home 15 Mbps. On the basis of demand, I can increase also. The house is everything. Ultimately, I want to know what is the energy utilized as of now, what is the auditing, where there are losses, either filterage or technical, how to correct it, this type of activities we are doing. Here I am very happy, even I told my utilities also, I gave mandate, not only confined on this, yes for you, whatever will do business. But only you must have the technologies and we have to demonstrate. That is it. Water, washing water, how to push water for drinking water, water distribution, and also irrigation water.
We also briefly discussed in November, and we had understood that there might be an interesting strategic interest from your state. So without further delay, I would like to...
A lot of blood plasma and blood products, like proteins, immunoglobulins, and factors 7 and 8. And in order to, with something like 300 liter capacity per year. Now it's not just the facility itself, but it's also a collecting organization which brings the plasma to the facility for fractionation. I think that takes place in hospitals. It's more a collection for blood than conserves for surgery and so on. The finished installation was in something like 3 years, up and running, probably another year or year and a half until we achieve full capacity. I&PR for engineering. If you just can go to the next slide, please. We are in the business of engineering for pharmaceutical industries for over 20 years now. We have mostly, so we are located in Switzerland as the headquarters. We have dependencies and daughter companies in Germany, Austria, Belgrade, and in Spain. Recently acquired company Biotest AG from Germany. He's one of the 4 to 5 global players in blood proteins, blood fractionation, and we have an agreement with them that they will provide the process, the license fees roughly, and they're in the business since the early 1950s, last century. Now, if you look at the expertise that we can provide, we have included in the presentation a couple of you will gain the experience also to further increase your requirement or your demands for later on.
But can you go on your own? Can you associate with them for comfort? But how it is going to work, I don't know. Because that is the charity, yours is commercial. They want to go in a big way for charity. Blood supply, all these things, with components.
I think there are several scenarios that we can think of. First of all,
I'm very clear on that. Even what they have to pay for franchise or bringing technology, that they will pay. I will go for charity within the framework. Yeah.
And my understanding is that it's totally feasible.
Automatically I can give blood free. Today I am charging nominal. That also I can give free.
yeah, that can be charity.
Yeah, I was very happy.
Yeah.
Then they can develop it and then I can go a long way.
Yeah.
So the total investments would nevertheless be roughly 350 million.
What is the 350 million euros?
Yes.
What is the impact?
Yeah. So we will coordinate and make sure that 27-28 will be in India.
India, this month, after this immediately.
Okay. We'll see if it's feasible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyway, the middle side is very... What is the name?
It's my family name.
Your mother
Yes, my grandfather is ancestors came from Madhya Pradesh. Chandra Naidu is a great leader. He died in 1983. He used to tell Chandra Naidu is a great leader and have some word like he was like that my grandfather. And same my grandfather Davose, his ancestors came to like a Davose model. Yeah, and then he married to my Baba's mother, and he went there to settle.
All these things and all the base roots, where he came from, all these things.
My father also is training in Guntur district.
It's IAS.
IFS also.
Maybe I will miss somewhere.
Thank you.
And that is the reason I took the point.
Thank you. Something will make. Now we can look at what is the area we are working now.
Yeah, actually, Germany, and I have done an MBA as well. I want to appreciate. At the moment we are doing consulting and real estate business in Germany. It's really expensive and it will require government support. We cannot do it alone. So, and also resources are really limited. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to introduce ourselves shortly and to have the opportunity to meet you. For me, it's the first in our cooperation project. So the time is very short and I will go very quickly so to give everybody the opportunity to talk. And I think it's important that we have the chance to interact over the not just to present all the time. Neighboring to Gujarat province, where Andhra Pradesh has also cooperation. We are actually also active in Gujarat province and cooperating with same institutional level, municipal level, prefecture level, county level, real estate developers and also NGOs. We are also active in Switzerland, based in Zurich, Technical Park, Zurich. Smart cities planning, according to our understanding, as planners, we always think about, when we are talking about expansion of cities or planning of new cities, we are talking about integrated land use and transportation plan, which is very crucial. And our integrated transportation, so we have an efficient public transportation system. Maybe one slide back, we were a little bit too fast, sorry. And then of course, another important pillar where we as I&P consultants company, in a consortium probably would deliver a kind of pre-feasibility study for a pilot smart city in Andhra Pradesh, taking the case.
It is going back to electrical engineering, which is about 120 years originated, know-how coming from Switzerland. Our expertise, so in energy we are doing thermal power, renewable energy, and then chemicals, mining and metals, and transportation, There are special tunnel homes done worldwide in the last 10 years. We have also a strong part in the environmental sector. This is especially wastewater business we started about 20 years ago here in Central Europe. Actually, we are doing project more or less around the world.
To be part of the team that created the World Wide Web technology 25 years ago that was created in CERN in Geneva, the particle physics lab, with which India has a partnership actually. Of bringing the power of digital to the finance system, because the finance industry was the only one that has not been traditionally on a daily payment cycle. With digital, you can do instant payment. When you do instant payment, you reduce the risk. When you reduce the risk, you reduce the cost. And also, it's been proven, you increase economic growth automatically. Not even speaking about all the advantages that your Prime Minister has advocated, like bringing that India has taken all these steps to be ready for the transition to digital money on a very wide scale. I'm sure the population will adopt it quickly. Great job. What we want to do with you is come and help you to accelerate the transition so that the benefits of the digital money next to insurance, next to international payments, savings account, all kinds of possibilities you can do with the strong base
available within that. And also how to make it, as a matter of fact, all are viable projects, not solutions. That is going on as on today. We are involving some private people also. Even American government is working to make Visakhapatnam a smart city. Like that, even Amaravati are planning, this will be one of the best capital, one among top 5 in the world. That type of organization I want to build there. All other cities also, we are having so many ideas. If you can take lead further, we will ask our people to be in touch with you and take plans on these things. Wherever Zurich and your organization is very strong, you can work together. We will be very happy to associate. That is one. Second one, as a matter of fact, for the brief, you have given so many ideas. Can you work with my EDB to bring sector-wise? You are having so many clients, so many ideas, where you can help us. If necessary, you can give all your experience and knowledge in preparing the projects. Then we can market it. You know each project over on top 5. We can market working in a big way. Now our PM has announced demonetization. Now we are going for revolutionary changes in the economy. And the convener for the digital transactions, how to make it successful. To study best practices all over the world. There are 5 chief ministers and also experts in it. And all of us are working. I am very happy here. India, you have to study further and come back to me. Regularly will be in touch with you, work together. What are the, one is within the province, that is for Andhra Pradesh, my state. Then I can make recommendations for the nation. Even I can bring central government and also Prime Minister. He is very keen to know all these things. We are in advanced stage because of our infrastructure strength. We are ahead of other states. India is having 2-3 advantages you have to keep in mind. One is NPCA, what you are doing, National Payment Corporation of India. Then another thing, smartphone and feature phone. There is an improved version of it, very simple version. Now with the feature phone, I can have access to it, very simple way. Now everybody is having feature phone now. It is, transactions are becoming more or less easy. Second one, all smartphones are becoming micro ATM. If you add only one biometric device, it is costing 2,000 rupees. I am giving 1,000 rupees subsidy. Now by adding 1,000 rupees, I can use your phone as the ATM. If you go to a shop, then I can transact. After shop is closed, I can use it as a phone. Meanwhile also I can use it as a phone. For a customer, I did not have anything. Only biometrics, fingerprint. With Aadhaar number I have to know. And bank name I have to tell. With biometrics, I can have access to transactions. Nowhere in the world it is available. This is the low hanging fruit.
It's a great basis.
Great basis, great infrastructure. If you want to do all these things, it will take 5 years or 6 years. Now for the last 7-8 years, they have developed. Now it has become a handy now. That is the infrastructure we are having. We can add some more infrastructure. Now I am doing one more experiment. Every home I am going to connect 15 Mbps. Already it is happening. So that every home, every TV will become knowledge hub. Any content you can take, all channels, video, internet, phones, everything. So that is the strength we are operating now. In this, I am very happy to associate with you where you are having knowledge. It is very near to my heart. I strongly believe currency means money, I can say. Money is only a means of transaction, not a means of wealth.
Exactly.
People are thinking accumulation of currency, thereby creating wealth. That is the problem. So I want to change that mode. It is only a means of transaction. Wealth you want to create, build buildings, own lands, own factories, all these things okay. Thank you. Thank you. Sir. Thank you. Please come well. Let's start. Come here. Come back. Okay.
This is great.
The media, thank you. We do great things.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Very nice of you. Please come back. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Come.
Two ladies.
All of you. Join. Okay. Please come back. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Good. Bye. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
are also honored.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
You may go.
Thank you.
Pictures, yeah, you can.
They are working, it's still working.
Let them come. You can come and join.
Close to my house, yes. This is saving
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please.
to making things. That's why they are super high tech, this country, and super clean also. Related to vocational education. So I thought they could meet you together and work together.
Doctor in pharmacy. And he was on the ETH at a huge university as a doctor. And she is from Switzerland. She's Swiss. They sold the whole facility, and then they said, we want to give India something bank fair, the Swiss education system. It's called dual system because it's industry and schools. And we transfer it in the moment to India. And we already started with our first project, polymechanic. We have a copy from Switzerland. It's just inverted into the Indian needs, what's the demands in India. So we started last year. And we started for cabinet makers, we started in automotive, so we have 20 professions on the list. And
also, you know, this organization, it's full of Swiss and German people, and they have I've met a lot of people, they always tell me India has given them many purpose in life.
Vocational is very, very important. If you can, you have some model we have produced in Rajasthan.
yeah.
Same model we can adopt it, or improved version also we can adopt it. Skill Development Corporation. And also Siemens, they are working with one project in some areas. Gigabit capacity I can give it to all schools, colleges, demand based. So it will be very easy for us to use that technology, information technology.
Proposals which are now with the government of I&PR. You see the fourth person is zooming out on something. You see the construction of well and of the first clinic building. There's a tank now. So that's a long story. This is the first well. Okay. Then we started to plan. It was due to the problem with a lot of vitamin deficiency. We started with sprouting to fight against vitamin deficiency in remote areas because about 40,000 people got blind this year every Sunday. A doctor was financed by us, did the whole work, and because of enough space and many other. It's pollution free. It can create employment. We feel solar energy has got 3 layers. We have the planning.
Down the line, गाली खा के चला जाएगा. Factory of there. That I don't.
5 minutes to have you.
We are careful audience.
We make half an hour and then coffee. Sales marketing, like our owner, Mr. Peter Spuler, we will make it afterwards. So I suggest that we start with the tour. There are a few more umbrellas here. Maybe we just have to walk here, so we have to go left. But the last year we had partly when you go to Davos, there will be maybe half a meter or 80 centimeters. Most of our car bodies are made of steel. So this is the first step of our it's a typical 17 welding workers. So most of the
Speed train. Yeah.
This is called the Spuler hole. We bring the car bodies, the painted car bodies, we open this pipe, we apply 2 weeks, and we bring and then there is the velocity bar.
பின்னாடி இப்படி சைடு பிளான் பண்ணுறோம் பின்னாடி சார் லெஃப்ட் லெஃப்ட்
That's the difference. We now go for the on the other side of the building. Okay.
Is das done?
No, it again. Huh?
Just now.
No, it's not icy. It's yeah, then it's literally. Move it down. Indeed. So we expect at the moment by end of January beginning to make the proper business plan. That obviously also means we need to understand about cost structure, taxes.
What is the investment?
We, on one hand, the investment for Stadler India for the production of the components, aluminium car bodies and bogie. So I would say